Good morning, everybody. This is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday morning. I hope you're having a good start to your day. I'm here today to share with you finishing up decorating this folio that I made. This is one of my configuration folios that I created for Country Craft Creations. I'm using 49 in Market, and this is the ArtOptions Spice collection. Absolutely a stunning collection. So I'm going to go through and show you how I've decorated and then give you some hints and tips on some of the pages that I did, and let you know how I used some of the ephemera and the chipboard pieces that I had that I incorporated into the album. And I'm also going to show you how I used the film strip pieces in several different ways, and I think it turned out really fun. So this is the one that I made. This was my prototype, and I did show you that. And the reason why I'm showing you this one with this one right now is I wanted to show you something about it. So on this one here, this is Doodlebug paper that I bought from Country Craft Creations to do my prototype, and I did him exactly the same. But I want to show you that the 49 Market papers are very thick, and it made it a little more chunky than this one, and I want to kind of show you. Now, I do have some paper clips in here that we're going to take out, but as you can see, it's a little bit more chunky than this one here using the Doodlebug papers. So just be aware of that, and if you don't mind a little bit of an alligator mouth, then it's going to be fine. But I just wanted to show you that. But they're the same size, same pages, same everything. Just 49 Market has some pretty substantial papers. So I just wanted to let you know that. So I'm going to get this out of the way, and then we'll go through here. So I'm going to show you on the back cover how I did this. It is a fun way to use those film strips. So when we left off, none of this was covered, and I'm showing you the whole thing. So I used one piece of the paper, and I cut it into a 6-inch strip, and then it was an 1/8 inch shorter than the 8 inches. So it's 7 7/8. Then I used the one paper. I did forget to order 2 of them. So I thought, well, this is going to be a perfect paper to kind of use. I love the plaid. I'm going to use it on the spine. So I wanted to create that kind of wrapped spine effect. So I have my second piece that's 6 inches wide, and then I cut my other piece of the plaid here. What I did with the film strip is I actually cut it just right in half. So if you can imagine this half piece underneath here, I just literally cut it in half, and then I'm using it as a decorative edge underneath the piece. So how I did that after I cut it in half is I used some red line tape, and you could use score tape as well, but glue doesn't work, I didn't think, super awesome for this. So I wanted to use the red line to kind of get it started, and then I used glue to glue it down underneath the paper. Okay, so I kind of fit the paper. Again, this is 7 7/8 inch tall, and I kind of fit the paper to the film strip, and I wanted to kind of see where it was going to lay, because I wanted to make sure that I had a solid piece of film strip here and here. So I'm going to take actually this tape off, because it's looking like if I put my paper here, then when I cut it off to trim, it's going to cut those holes out, because I wanted kind of a solid green piece of the film strip. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? Right under there. Okay, so I'm going to grab that red line tape. I'm going to put a little piece up here, and I thought I had figured that out yesterday when I was finishing prepping the tutorial, but apparently I did not. So I'm going to do that and then cut that off. Red line tape is really, really good, and I do like it, but it's, I think, harder than score tape to use, because you do have to cut it. You can't just rip it. All right, so I'm just going to press that down, use my little tool here, and maybe take that up. We'll see. There we go. There's one. This was really fun to create, and the film strip pieces are adorable, you know. And I was trying to think of some different ways to use them. And I came up with a couple ideas. So I want to show you. We will go through the book. And then there's some pages that I went ahead and, you know, covered with pattern paper because they're pretty self-explanatory as far as cutting them 1/8 inch smaller than the piece you're covering. But the ones like the corner pocket that I created, I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. Now, I want to also make sure that I got my orientation proper. So my plaid, I want to make sure that matches up so I have the design. And then make sure my film strip lines up. And then I'm going to just butt this up right to that edge there. I'm going to move it down just so I could see. And then I'm going to stick it down on those little tabby pieces just to get it started, okay? So now it's stuck behind there, and then I can take my scissors and I can just trim that off, and I have my piece, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is grab my score tape again, or my red line tape, and I'm gonna put a little bit of red line. There's that little piece. I kept feeling it on the table. I'm going to put a little bit of red line. I'm going to put it right at that join. So I'm putting it a little bit on top of the film strip and then a little bit on the paper. So I want to kind of seal that. And then I went ahead and put, this is 1/8 inch red line tape. So I'm going to put a little bit on that edge of the film strip. Oop, not over the little divot though. Let me show you that real quick. So in the film strip, you can see there's a little divot there. I'm just going to stop there and not put it over the top. Otherwise, you're going to have sticky, kind of exposed. All right, so I'm going to do that. Okay. Here's that next little divot. And then a little piece up here, and that's just going to help secure it to the paper. Like so. Okay. Then I'm going to grab that bone folder that I put away. And I'm going to just burnish that down. All right. Get our book. Get our glue. There we go. Come on, glue. I know the bottle is getting a little bit empty, but it still has a lot in it. There we go. All right, so I'm gluing this piece down first. Take off this score tape that we added for the seam binding. Turn this over, make sure it is in the right orientation. Press that down. It's a little bit hard to do with all of the stuff on the inside, but I want to keep that a surprise for a second. I want to show you that in just a second. All right, because I have gone through and I have decorated, and except for the pages and things that I'm going to show you. So, all right, this piece will go right here. So, again, I'm going to take off my tape. And I'm sorry if this is a tedious thing. You can fast forward it if you would like. But this is one of the reasons why I don't normally use the red line tape, but I really wanted the 1/8 inch tape. So I'm going to grab glue. I'm going to put glue on the paper. That's how I decorated the cover piece. The covers of my book. And used the film strips. There we go. There you go. So that is the finished paper for the cover of our folio. Isn't that beautiful? I am loving the orange, the pink, and the teals in this. It's just gorgeous. All right, so again, this was one piece of paper. I cut it at 6 inches, and then I used that one sheet that I forgot to get 2 of, and that's what I used for that. All right, so when you open the book up, here is what it looks like right now. I've got these pieces decorated, and we're going to go through them individually so I can show you. I did use another piece of that plaid here, and I kind of sprinkled the rest of the leftovers kind of all the way around. I did want to tell you though, all in all, I had 23 sheets of patterned paper, and I have 9 left over. So I used quite a bit of paper for this. I did use Kraft cardstock for the base of the pages in the album, and I used 10 sheets of that. And then I used Summer Ivory, and Summer Ivory is the artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations for photo mats. And I used 6 sheets of that. So it did take quite a little bit. Here's my hand-dyed seam binding. So each section is tied closed. When you open it up, you have this first flip. So I added these die cuts here, and then I'm going to fold this piece so I can show you that I added the bow, and I just glued it up here and then on the corners so that you could tuck a picture underneath there. So I thought that was real pretty. And then I just added the photo mat there with the Summer Ivory. On the back of this, I added another smaller photo mat. Here's some of the ephemera pieces. And on this one here, I just layered a couple. I just clustered them together. And then I used my little tiny attacher from Tim Holtz and just stapled them together and then glued it right here so that, again, you could, you know, tuck your picture underneath. And then I added this little piece that says, "This is the good life." So then as you move this up, this is one of the things I wanted to show you. So I did not glue that down quite yet. I had this piece of paper. I really wanted to use it for this flip here, but it wasn't quite long enough. So then I thought, well, I'm going to make this into like a little pocket or a little tuck for a picture. So what I did was I layered the pieces together. I had cut this ticket, and this is one of the ephemera pieces that came with the collection, and I cut it to the size that I wanted, layered the other tag, added some twine from my stash, and then added this. And then I just basically glued them together. Okay, so it's one piece. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut straight across to keep it the same size as the pocket. Okay, so I just cut the end of the tag off, and then I'm going to cut the end of that banner off. And these things are stout. I mean, they're crazy thick. All right, and then I'm just going to glue that to the edge. And whether you want to make it a pocket or you just want to be able to tuck a picture underneath. So if you want to make a pocket, just glue on the 3 sides. And I think that's what I'm going to do because they had these cute little letter die cuts that I wanted to kind of tuck one under there. So I'm just going to glue it on 3 sides, and everything should match up, and add that down. But that's how I did that. So some of the clusters that I used in this, I stapled because I liked the look of the staple, and some of them I just glued. So it's totally your preference, and you can do however, you know, you want. So there's that. And then let's see, where did I put it? There it is. Here's one of the little letters, so you could tuck that underneath there like that. All right, so there is how I did that. And then this flips open, and I did use some, you know, like I said, I did use Summer Ivory, and some of the pages I used it on the whole page. Couple different reasons why. I wanted to have bigger pictures, number 1. And number 2 is I wanted to save some paper for a second piece. So that's kind of what I did with that. So glued ephemera pieces so you could tuck a large picture under here. You could do a 5x7 under here. And then I put a photo mat here, again with a die cut. Open it up, left that plain for another photograph, and then there's another die cut there. Okay, and then that just folds like that. Then this piece will open like this, and then we have our flap with our magnet. I added a photo mat and some of the ephemera here. This was a little white strip that I just backed with a little more of the pattern paper just to kind of make it pop. Then it opens up with a magnet, another photo mat. Here is a place where you can, you know, tuck your picture under there. And then you have your trifold. And my trifold, when you open it up, I used one piece of pattern paper. I cut it at 7 7/8. Then I cut a strip for here, a strip for here, and a strip for here. But I used the middle strip in the back, so it's kind of opposite. So you have pattern paper and photo mat. And again, I did a little cluster of the ephemera. This paper collection, the ephemera that I got, there's a ton of it. So I really used a lot of that. So you can take a picture above and below, so you can do a smaller picture. The other thing it comes with is a little chipboard pieces. You have little frames with words in them, and they're all interchangeable. So I did use a couple of those, but I interchanged them so you had a little color pop. Then if you turn this over, and this does get pretty big. So here is the rest of that trifold. So again, sorry about that. It's 2 photo mats and then the pattern paper in the middle. Okay. And this one I just glued all the way down so you could put, you know, a picture here. So there's that. And then behind that page, so this folds up like this, behind that page, I did put a big photo mat here. I used one of the laser cuts. The laser cuts, this is a laser cut too. OMG. These guys are so beautiful. So I had a piece, I layered it there, and then I put the banner that says, "You are awesome." And I thought kind of that was really beautiful. Here is our pocket. So it ties with the seam binding, and you know, remember in the tutorial we did the cuts so that we could put the seam binding through, and it worked absolutely perfectly. I left this plain. Open it up. In here I used the pattern paper for the pocket, and this is one of the ephemera pieces that came in. This is a leftover piece from creating, and then I used the die cuts at the top to make a tab. And then on here, I used some more of this pattern paper and made 2 smaller photo mats. All right, and this one says, "You are my pumpkin spice." I just thought that was really adorable. Then this closes like this. We tie that up like so. All right, and then this opens up again. Lots of openings, right? Lots of things. So this is another thing I wanted to show you. So this is the double belly band page. And when you take these inserts out, I used the same piece of paper, cut it at 7 7/8, and then I cut a piece for the bottom and a piece for the middle, used the opposite side, and then I used the piece here. So that kind of used one pattern paper, one of the more solid colors. Then I had leftovers towards the end, and so I just cut photo mats, and then I just put, again, more little clusters that you could tuck the picture underneath. And so I thought that would be fun to kind of keep this page like more of a solid feel. Okay, the backs are plain. And then I wanted to make an embellishment for the belly band. So these are the stamps, and the leaves and even the heart are part of the laser cuts. Let me show you, what did I do with the laser cuts? There they are. So let's see, well, this will probably work. So yeah, I had the laser cuts. They had a lot of these leaf pieces, and you can cut them apart and use them however you want. Okay, you don't have to use them all in one piece. So I kind of fussy cut some of the leaves out in various areas and used them in multiple ways. So for example, all these leaves were one like ginormous leaf pattern like this purple one was. So I took that and cut it apart, and then I layered it with the stamps and then that little heart. Okay, and they're just all glued together. You can see how I cut them apart on the back, and just made a cute little thing to put on the belly band. So then I'm just going to grab some glue and go down the middle of this and glue that on my belly band, and that's going to be a beautiful decoration for that. Okay, and I'm just going to put it right in the middle like so. So I wanted to show you that. You can do all kinds of different cluster things with this. It's just, there's so many parts and pieces when you get the ephemera packs in this collection is just crazy. All right, so the belly band is done. That is glued down, and everything will slide underneath, and it's just, I think it's just beautiful. So this opens up. Then you have the pocket back here, photo mat, another cluster. Here is one of the ways that I used a piece of the film strip, and I hope you can see that. I just used it as a cluster piece. Let me get this moved over. So I just used it as part of the cluster piece, so the photo will go underneath that. This is another way that I used one of the film strips. I just literally used the red line tape and pasted it there. You could put a picture underneath here, left the back blank. You could do some journaling on here since the pattern is so light, but you could put a photo in here and that would be framed with the film strips. So that was another way. And then in here, I just made a tag, and I didn't put like a pull or anything on here. You totally could, and I might go back and do that, but that's that page. And then back here, again, I had a piece of pattern paper that it wasn't quite big enough for this space, so I used a strip and I just glued on 3 sides to make a pocket. I put in a piece of leftover paper, used another piece of the lace just to make a really pretty, and they're gorgeous on both sides too. So it's just beautiful laser cut. So that goes in there like that. Another one of the little letters I tucked in there. And then here is a film strip that I used the red line tape top and bottom, and then I made a cluster and I glued that over the top onto the pocket, so that helps secure the middle part of the film strip, and it gives a nice decorative element. All right, so that's that. And then the back, so this is the inside of the front cover. This envelope was one of the ephemera pieces, and it was just perfect to just make a pocket. So I glued it on 3 sides. I added favorite days, and then in here, 2 ephemera pieces in the pocket. And then this will fold down, and then we tie the seam binding. This orange seam binding started out white. I made my own seam binding. I wanted to play with colors, so I made my own. So I took a bunch of the white seam binding, I got it wet and scrunched it up really good, and I put it on a tray that I use for when I do painting and distressing and stuff. And then I spritzed the white seam binding with this, and this is Distress Mica Stain Mold Cider, and it just matched perfectly with this. You can get the seam binding and the mold cider Distress Stain, excuse me, at Country Craft Creations. And then so once you spritz it, and I spritzed it, I don't know, 6-8 times, I can't remember now, and then I kind of squished it. I used gloves and squished it around and got it kind of how I wanted it, and then I just let it dry, and it just dried overnight, and it was perfect, and just it turned out absolutely beautiful. Okay, second side here, again, we used my seam binding to tie it shut. We have this little flap here, and I created a little pocket with just a little strip of the paper, used another one of the lace pieces, and then just put a little one of the little letter die cuts in there. Photo mat, and this is another laser cut. This is one of the stamps, so I did that. Pocket, and I just added one of the white word sayings, making memories together. Here's another tag that I made, and on this one I used 2 of the little heart laser cuts, and they match perfectly behind each other, and I just glued that to the top to make a cute little pull. All right, so this one opens up, and then this is what I was going to show you with this pocket. So this pocket is the one that we drew a line down to 2 inches, and then from 2 inches here to 2 inches here, we scored it, and then we folded it over, okay? Inside of this long pocket, I used a leftover piece of paper. This is 7 inches tall, and then the other thing I was going to show you on this paper, so on the 49 and Market papers, so you have the one side here that has the branding strip. Look at the back of your branding strips, because you can have some really cute pieces that you can go ahead and use somewhere else, and they're pieces that you don't have in the pattern paper. I hope that makes sense. So, for example, this is one of the backs of the branding strip right here. It had some kind of like subway words and stuff like that. So I used, this piece had the branding strip on it, but behind it, it was pink. So I used that and put a strip over the top of that to cover it up. to make it the 7 inches that I wanted, and then I used 2 of the die cuts to create the heart pull. Okay, so that's how that goes. So let me show you how to cover this piece right here. I'm going to put this to the side. Not there though. There we go. I'm going to put that there. All right, so we talked about a pattern that I had made, and I wanted to show you how this works. So this particular piece of paper, to match the pocket, this is, again, my pattern, is 5 3/8 wide by 7 3/8 tall. Okay, so 5 3/8 by 7 3/8, and this matches the pocket. Then I found the center, and to find the center, you can either try to measure it, or you can actually just fold this thing in half and find your center point, because this is your pattern. And then from that point, I measured 2 inches down, okay, and then 2 inches again from the center, just like I did making the pocket, and then I cut that out. When I did that, and let me show you, if you fold that up and you lay this down, that will mat your pocket perfectly, okay, and make the space so that your little triangles will fold over, okay? So then you can take your pattern paper, okay? This is going to be my pattern paper piece that I cut. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love it. So I'm going to put the pattern on the back. I'm going to take my pencil and make sure everything's lined up. Like so. And I'm going to cut that out, and we will have our piece. So however you want to do it, if you want to do it with a straight edge and a ruler, or you want to do it with your scissors, however you want to do it, cut it out. Of course, you actually have to cut it, that's for sure. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to grab the book. And one of the other things about this book, which is kind of fun, is because it has so many flips and flaps, you can actually kind of open it up and lay it down so that you can actually work with it, even though it has all of these pieces. So I just kind of opened it up. We'll fold this down. We're going to glue this right to there. I'm going to dry fit it just to make sure, and it looks absolutely perfect. So again, just get that piece of paper and you measure the cut the same exact way that we did on the pocket in the tutorial. All right, so I'll put glue on there, and I dry fit it, so I wanted to make sure that it works perfectly. There we go. Okay. Then what I did in my prototype was I just glued these down, and then I put pattern paper here. So I'm going to go ahead and just add the glue. And fold that down. Glue. There we go. See a little pencil mark. I'm going to go ahead and erase that. Okay. Then the triangles, for the triangles, they are, if you look at them as if they were a square, they should be 2 inches by 2 inches. So you're going to cut a square of paper at 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and then you're just going to cut it at the diagonal in half, and that will give you the piece for that. All right. So when you cut triangles to match, you know, to cover squares like this, you know, to cover a triangle, you have to look at it as if it was a square. Measure it as if it was a square. So again, this one was 2 inches, right? 2 inches by 2 inches. So if you think of that as a square, then subtract 1/4 of an inch. And then that will give you a really good triangle to cover those pieces. That's how I did that. Okay, and then the last thing I need to do is I'm going to take this out. This needs to go in because I really want to cover that up. So I just cut a piece that will fit down into there. And then I'm going to attempt to turn this so I can see what I'm doing. It gets big. It does get big. And I'm going to add just a little bit of glue under here just to secure that. It doesn't have to be much because the pocket will hold it down. Okay. I'm going to grab my bone folder. Just kind of make sure that that's down. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit. I didn't quite get that corner. Okay, like so. All right, so if we turn that around, then we have our tag that goes in there. Look how beautiful that is. Now, this can go anywhere you want. It can go here. It can go here. You know, wherever you think it's pleasing. I think I'm going to put it there. This is one of the laser pieces. I just backed it on a piece of extra cardstock, and then I used my decal scissors to kind of match the decal edge on that. And we're just going to glue that down. Living a good life. I love this. All right, so there's that. Now, let's put the book back in its original configuration so you can kind of see how this is looking so far. All right, so we have our front page with our flap. We showed you that. Turn it over. Here is our pocket page that we just created, okay? This piece here, these are flap pages that I did, and I left this one pretty simple with just one of the die cut labels, and then this piece fit right in the middle just perfect. So I layered that. Nice place for a picture there. Photo mat with a die cut. This page, I loved the brown. I didn't really want to cover it up too much, so I just used a piece of the laser lace and put that there. Then that opens up. Photo mat here with one of the die cuts in the middle. Pattern paper. This was one of the chipboard pieces, and I wanted to show you the chipboard pieces are super thick. So I did take, you know, and split it so that it was a little bit thinner, but I really wanted that tab, so I just took my fingernail, and you can take a knife too, and you can just go in the middle and split it. And let me show you. I'll show you one. So here's a chipboard piece, and if you wanted it thinner, then you can take your fingernail and you just kind of peel the back off. You could use, I use my fingernails. You can use a knife or, you know, X-Acto knife, whatever you want to do, and then just carefully peel off some of that, and then that will thin this up so you could use it in an album that you don't want to have a whole lot of, you know, extra bulk, and then just peel that off, and then you can use it like that. Okay, so that's how I did that. Let's see. So then that opens up. Here is another photo mat with another cluster that I just glued. Beautiful, beautiful pink page. Love it. Photo mat here, and then here is another photo mat that I did, but this time I used a little piece of pink cardstock that I had left over. This is the with the pattern paper collection, and then I layered a couple of the film strips behind it, and then this is one of the laser cuts that says here and now, right here and now. Okay, then this goes left, right, okay, so then that folds over like this comes out like this, and you have your little flat page pocket. This ephemera pack came with some really cool skinny tags, and I forgot, obviously, to put a twine in that one, but I have to go back and do that. They had these tickets, and then they had these little slides. So I just took the slide, I put it on a piece of the Summer Ivory cardstock, and then just created a little extra piece to put in here. One of the word sticker or word pieces in the ephemera piece was a little too long for this pocket, but I really wanted to use it. So I just trimmed it and glued it down. And then I just added the bow and trimmed it on the ends to fit the pocket. This flips open. Here's another photo mat. And then I left this page because this was like a natural photo mat on this page. So I just left it. You could put the picture right smack dab in the middle and you have all this beautiful area around it. I did add this little piece. This is from the laser cut Harvest the Memories. Backed it on a little bit of the leftover purple and just kind of fussy cut around it to kind of mimic that edge. On this page, I did a full page photo map because I had an idea. So I did a little cluster embellishment and I stapled it like I had done before, and I put it in the corner. And then this one, I made 2 of them, but this one I'm planning on putting up here because I'm thinking you could put 2 smaller pictures or even 1 bigger picture, but you could, you know, tuck one, excuse me, underneath here, and then you could tuck one underneath here. Okay, so you could either do 2 smaller pictures or 1 larger picture. So when I did these with the staples, because I want to tuck something underneath them, what I did was I made sure that the tines of the staples were pressed down really well, and I used my bone folder and really, you know, kind of pressed them down and made sure that there's no pokey parts. And then I used my good old tape here, and I put a couple layers over the top of that so it's nice and smooth, okay? And then what we're going to do is just glue that into the upper corner like so. So I'm going to just put just a little bit here at the top and then maybe here and here. And then that way my picture can tuck underneath there. And then I have my cute little cluster. And then the back of that is protected. So when I put whatever it is I'm going to put under there, it won't get messed up with the tines of the staple. But you still get that cute staple effect too. When I do staple these, sometimes, you know, these things will wiggle around. So you can go back in and you can like glue them down onto each other after you staple. And that will help secure them as well. All right, this page opens up and then you have this flat page. And before I get to that, because I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that, on the back here, another way to use those film strips. So I used red line tape top and bottom and created another belly band. Then I just added a die cut to the front. This was one of the die cuts in the collection, and it was just perfect to tuck in there, and then you have room to put more things if you want. So that was another way. So you can use them in all kinds of different ways. It's just really fun. Now here on this pocket, we did our seam binding that we did for the closure, and I hadn't decided what I was going to do with it yet. So what I ended up doing was I, again, cut some of those leaves apart and layered them with a pumpkin just to make a little decorative area. I opened this up, I put happy little moment here, and then I put paper here. I decided I wanted to make it a pocket. So how we're going to do this is I've got some pieces here. I made some hinges, okay, just simple hinges. The pocket measures like 3 1/4. So I cut these, I want to say at 3 1/8, and then I trimmed them, and I'm going to just glue them down. And we're going to just create hinges to make a pocket. And I did this because I wanted to add a couple different things in here, and I didn't want it glued down. And since the pocket isn't that wide, I wanted to make sure that I had, you know, enough space to put the die cuts in that I wanted. So I'm going to glue those down first. On my other album that I did this with, the Bountiful Blessings, when we did the full-blown 5-page deal, I left this as a flip, but I wanted to show you, you can either glue it up or you can create hinges, and these are just leftover cardstock pieces that I had, and you can create a pocket. So different ways to make different stuff. Okay, so I'm going to glue that down. Okay. All right. Then I have this piece of pattern paper, and I wanted to tuck that into the pocket. So let me turn this around so I can see. You don't have to go all the way down. And I didn't, because I was trying to conserve paper so I could get a second project out of this because it's just so pretty. And then I'm just going to glue that down. Like so. Okay. All of my pattern papers are cut 1/8 inch shorter. I hope I said that. Okay, we got that. All right. So, to go in the pocket, we have one of the die cut pieces, so this library card, so you have that. And then I wanted to create something kind of fun. So this is one of the ViewMaster die cuts, and I took, again, the green leaves, and I cut them apart, and I kind of spread them around over the top, and I added the floral piece in the middle. I thought that was kind of pretty. The back is plain, so you could put a picture back there, but this is decorated. I just created a new word. Then that closes up like this, and then you have your seam binding here that will close like this, and that pocket is done. All right. Then on the back of that, I put a photo mat, and again used one of the film strip pieces to create a little place where you could tuck a picture behind. So I did use the red line tape above and below those holes to kind of secure that down, and then you can tuck your picture behind. I did staple this 3 cluster piece, and then I added that to the top of the film strip, and then I left this plain. Okay, so then that closes up like this. So here's the front of the book. This is the first section. So here's the entire second section. Then this will close up like so. All right, and then it will go like this. Now the last thing to do is the cover decorations. I wanted to wait till the end so that I didn't squish them. So I'm going to do that, and then I will be right back, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, I'm back, and I just wanted to share with you how I decorated my cover, and I used a couple of the chipboard pieces. So I used the leaves here, this pumpkin piece that had florals and butterflies, and then another pumpkin right here. I did layer them so they are bumped up, and I did use some extra pieces of chipboard to kind of bump those up and create the 3 layers there. I added some flowers. These are flowers from my design team package by Prima, and they're absolutely gorgeous. They fit perfectly with this paper collection. This is one of the laser cut bows. I've used this in a couple places in this album, and I just attached it to the stem of this pumpkin. I just glued it right on the top, and then I just kind of draped it over and glued it down on the ends over here and over here. So it kind of looks like the ribbon is actually flowing a little bit. It's kind of nice. Then I really loved this Making Memories banner, and I knew that had to be the title of my book because it's just exactly what we're doing. We're doing this so we can collect our memories and we can save them and cherish them forever. And I just thought that had to be the perfect title for this book. And then I added just a little cluster of flowers up here and left it as is because I just really think that it just turned out gorgeous. I'm very pleased with how this came out. So that is the end of my tutorial, and I am so glad that you watched, and I hope that you like it. I hope that you make this and let me know how it goes. This is my design team project for Country Craft Creations using 49 & Market ArtOptions Spice collection. It is absolutely stunning. This is all available, including the Summer Ivory and Kraft cardstock, the Prima flowers, seam binding. Everything is available at Country Craft Creations at countrycraftcreations.com. Thanks for watching again. Have a great day. Stay crafty. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.